Championship football returned this weekend, but it was another defeat for Blackburn Rovers, this time to Villa, and we'll talk about it next. That's right, folks, back once again with another match review, this time looking back at the old Aston Villa Blackburn Rovers match at Villa Park, and we'll get to that in just 1 second. If you're new to the channel, smash your subscribe button and give me a bang out to date with all things Blackburn Rovers related, Championship related, whoa, football related, we're all here under one roof. Now, let's jump into the thick of things and take a look at the match in a bit more detail. It did take place right here at Villa Park. Yes, 39,687 people were in attendance to see this bad boy as Aston Villa came out on top 2-1 win over the mighty Blue and White Halves in a game that was the first for both sides after the old international break. And it was a match I think the majority of Rovers fans were expecting to lose this one, and it was that sort of result, to be honest with you. And it was a game, to be fair, Aston Villa did press us and dominate the first 45 minutes. And it could have been 3 or 4, maybe even 5, 5-0 up before the 45-minute mark, which would have been a bit of a hard pill to swallow. But Rovers did create some chances in the first half. Craig Conway's effort, I think from a set piece or something. I think it was a corner or free kick, but eventually ended up with Craig Conway and he put it up against the crossbar. But that was pretty much our only first half highlight in a match or a half that dominated by Aston Villa. Tammy Abraham's opened up the scoring on the 8th minute to give Villa a nice big old boost. And like I said, they could have had more to that tally. In the second half, though, it seemed to be a bit of a more even game. Rovers actually did create a few chances themselves. And eventually, Aston Villa did double their lead with a Tyrone Mings header. Nice, good, solid header by the big man at the back to make it 2-0. It looked like it was game over at that point, but not long after, about 14 minutes later, Amari Bell bundled home a shot after a Charlie Mulgrew free kick to make it 2-1 and game on. And we actually did create quite a few chances towards the back end of that, and we probably could have shaded a point, but ultimately Aston Villa held on to all three and take themselves deep within the old playoff spots. Quick look at some of the stats here. 15 shots for Aston Villa on the night, 12 for Rovers. They also just shaded possession, 50.5% possession compared to 49.5% for Rovers. As for the pass success rate, Rovers were better. Just 84% of all their passes reached their intended target, 83 for Aston Villa. They had more dribbles compared to us, and they also won the aerial battles, 13-11. We were more successful on the ground with our tackles, 16-11. We had more corners, 5-4. Quick look at the starting 11s. Here we go with Aston Villa. Steers in goal. Taylor, Mings, House and El Hamadi at the back. Then a 5-man midfield of Ghazi, Grealish, McGinn, Green and Whelan in the middle there. And Tammy Abraham up top, scoring the goals. As for Rovers, they started in pretty expected sort of 11. The only concern or the only spots that I didn't get right were Bennett in central midfield and Conway up in the attacking trio there. But Raya in goal, Bell, Mulgrew, Lenihan and Nyambe. So it's good to see Captain Fantastic and Darren Lennon back in defence. Bennett and Travis in centre mid, Dak, Armstrong, Conway and Big DG up top. And here are my match ratings. Raya did pull off a few saves and he did look a lot more confident out there today, but ultimately still there was still some, when I say still, there was plenty of defensive errors to take a look at if you want to check out the replays, which will be online, I'm sure, by the Rovers website or YouTube pretty soon. Bell with a 6 despite the goal, Mulgrew with a 5, Lennon with a 6, and Nyambe with a 6. Bennett with a 5, Travis with a 6, Dak with a 5, Armstrong 5, Conway with a 6, and Big DG with a 6. Quick look at some more stats for you. This is the shots, and they are the orange, we are the blue. They have more passes than us, 451 to our 444. They also have more touches, 624 to our 606. And down the bottom there, you can see a sort of radius of where all the shots took place. A lot of shots down to the ground by Aston Villa went into the back of the net, both of them actually. And as for Rovers, our efforts will be more towards the top of the back of the net. Quick look at the heat maps. If you're a heat map man just like me, you might get a kick out of this. Well, there's nothing to really get a kick out of it. It just shows the spread of play. It looks like David Raya was a busy man there, as was Rovers defence. A lot or a more darker or orangey sort of colour is covering the Rovers defence there, especially down the left-hand side where Amari Bell would be used. On the flip side, down the left-hand side for Aston Villa as well, so Ghazi was probably the more active and busier of the forward players. So ultimately, a result I think we all expected. It could have been a lot worse. So let's not get too stuck in the mud about this one. Let's dust ourselves down, kick on. We got Stoke next. They're right next to us in the table. There are some positives to think about. You know, with the next few games, I think we got 2, maybe 3 games in a row, which could be at home. But definitely 2. I think it's Derby and Stoke next at Ewood Park. So if we could positively, my positive hat is on here, boys. If we can pick up 4 points out of those 2, that would be a nice haul, and then maybe we can look forward to the end of the season with a bit more spring in our step. Anyway, take a look at some of the thoughts and opinions from the folks on Twitter. Sully Solsters, or just Sully, said this: Rotherham lost and so did Millwall. As long as the gap doesn't diminish, then let's see out the season. Tapering off big time anyway. Big summer ahead to take stock. Meanwhile, Alex Colpran said this: second half was so annoying because if we start like that, we'd have taken something from this. We need to stay in the league and let Mowbray do his thing in the summer. On to next week. Meanwhile, Rob Young said this: no one was really expecting anything from this game, so I'd say losing 2-1 to a very informed team when we are not in form isn't the worst case scenario. Meanwhile, Wilf McGregor said this: my 12-year-old defends set pieces and crosses better than Mulgrew. Dak anonymous. Villa on fire to first 20 minutes and could have been 3 in front. Rovers only threatened once, 2 down with Armstrong up the middle, and Rothwell looked threatening. Impressed with him. Fair result. Meanwhile, Rich Sharp said this: visitors gave the promotion chasers a scare late on, but conceded the customary 2 goals away from home. Now 8 defeats in the last 10. That's pretty daunting statistic. And Mike Delap said this: David Ryan much improved today. Far more confident coming off his line and some smart saves to boot as well. Should have done better with their second, which the eagerly awaiting pack of Anger Wolves will be all over mine. Meanwhile, over on the BRSCS.com forum, obviously a lot of grumpy souls out there who are looking forward, maybe with the anticipation of Mowbray being out of job, but I don't think it's going to happen. Ewood Ace said this: so as we expected, another defeat, and 2-1 flatters us. If it had been 5-1, then we would not have any compliments. Again, huge questions to ask of the manager. Why on earth was Craig Conway starting? We should be looking to next season and should not be part of this. It's ridiculous giving him a start when we have Rothwell on the bench and Chapman not even in the squad. Bennett can add central midfield to his list of positions that he has played in the season and has been useless in. The fact that Mowbray thought he would be a better option against McGinn than Reed shows up just how clueless he is. But the biggest question is, why does Bennett have to, well, what does he do to have to get dropped? The 4-2-3-1 is a stealth system that sides have worked out. Everything we do is very predictable. Also, why we need to score 2 goals does he take out our 2 top goal scorers and bring on 2 players who have 0 goals between them this season? Brereton still doesn't seem to resemble a footballer, which brings me on to Mowbray's transfer dealings. He spent plenty of money in the summer, and in January he chose not to spend. The end result of our starting 11 today were all here last season. Lennon has been, for the most season, was all over the place. Also, a special mention of Mulgrew. He is defending for the second goal, which summed up his performance in recent weeks. Pathetic. Take the armband away from him. He's not been here for the past recent weeks. So anyway, Mellow Rover said this: another game, another week, performance for 75 minutes. Bennett is not a footballer. Woo, that's a bit harsh. Ad said centre mid and Art back, right back, left back on either flank to the positions he's shite in. Waiting for Mowbray to drop Graham and stick him up top just to keep him in the 11. Conway is a couple of seasons past it. Unfortunately, Bell's crap, but 3 times the player of Williams. Mulgrew is 6 foot some, yet shrinks when he jumps. How bad is Armstrong? For a player who gets on with the manager, he plays like he's just as sick as we are of him. Dak was visibly fuming with the teammates at various points today. Not one looked to his feet. The ball to Graham is too easy for players to refuse to take risks on the ball. Played our best football when Brereton and Rothwell were on. Would start both every game from now on until May. I'm with you there, Mellow Rover. Travis was as good as he can be today, and even better when Reed came on, who again was good. Class above us and won't be here or on the wing next season. Rise still fantastic keeper. If he irons out them clangers, he'll be a top keeper one day. Meanwhile, there's a load of them here. DE. So we had 2 shots on target the whole afternoon, both of which I believe came at the same time, with Mulgrew's free kick and Bell scoring the rebound. I wouldn't really call that a step in the right direction. By the sounds of it, we're atrocious one half, most inoffensive in the second. If that counts as if we're going in the right direction, then we may want to check the map again. Meanwhile, OJ Rovers. I'd have more respect for Mowbray if he accepted we can't defend we're going to get beaten by Villa, but gave the young attacking players a chance, like Ruffell, Butterworth, Brereton and Chapman. What we did learn from today is nothing. Meanwhile, wrong of the Rovers. Having watched it, pity it took until 75 minutes to getting the ball down and playing some nice stuff. Still look pretty toothless, though, despite the possession. Big summer ahead, many questions need answering. This season can't end soon enough. I'm with you for the most part of that. I am looking for next season, but I'm hoping these next few games we can look to Rothwell, to Brereton, to Butterworth, to the young lad in midfield the other week, McGlory. All those players, give them a shot, not all that kind of stuff. Butty said this, well, I think we all expect a lot worse. They were a good side, Villa. They have some quality players at this level. They were a much better side, but I don't think we disgraced ourselves today compared to some of our recent away showings. It was a step in the right direction, not saying much, though. Meanwhile, Tyrone says this, what worries me is that the stat that says we haven't come back from behind in a championship game since 2016. Even crap teams do better than that. However, Perth Blue 02 said this, cheer up, you miserable sods. 21 points to play for and only 12 behind the final playoff spot. Believe, he says. So, meanwhile, Trent Villa, who is a Villa supporter, I think. So, thoughts on the game? I thought you were quite poor first half. Couldn't really see what the game plan was, but we also played as well. We played in a long time. Our passing and movement was excellent, and we should have been out of sight. The second half, I thought you showed character and some spirit. You could have crumbled after the second. You certainly had more of the ball and put us under some more pressure, even if you rarely threatened. Could have quietly been different if we were fortunate to have the immense Mings, who has transformed our team. I thought Dak was quite quiet. I was quite looking forward to watching him. The lad who came on for the last 30-odd minutes impressed. Brereton was a bit embarrassing with him dives. Hope those that made true journey had a good trip to VP, despite the result, and safe journey back north. Best of luck for the remaining game. Meanwhile, our resident Villa supporter Dan Collins had this to say about Aston Villa's performance.
So a great 2-1 victory today for Villa against Blackburn Rovers, with goals from Tammy Abraham and Tyrone Mings, with John McGinn having a hand in both goals. I thought he was particularly excellent today. I was worried that after playing for Scotland he might come back lacking in confidence, but if he was, he didn't show it. The first one was a great ball into El Ghazi, who set up Abraham for a goal. He probably won't score an easier one. And for the second one, it was just a great ball on to Mings' head. So, fair play to you, John McGinn. I thought Green had a tough third day. He got into some great positions, but the end product wasn't really there for me. And I thought after the second goal, we kind of took our foot off the gas a little bit and let Blackburn Rovers into the game. A few passes went awry and just a bit sloppy. And poor Jed Steer for that free kick. You don't want to slate a keeper, but he could have done better. But it's something we can work on. And overall, I think we played well. We saw the game out well. And a 5th straight win and up to 5th in the table. So I'll take that.
Now you've heard a little bit what I've had to say about the match, and you've heard what the Aston Villa fans have had to say about the match. What you really want to hear is what the gaffer had to say. Here's his thoughts and opinions about the result.
Well, I think worked extraordinarily hard for staff, had to against a really good team. I think you have to put that into context first and foremost. I think Villa have hit a patch of form. I think you can see the identity of a Dean Smith team on them now. They've got some amazing players in central midfield, and we had to be full throttle just to try and stay with them for staff. Second half, particularly the last half an hour, it all changed. It was one way towards their goal, really. We got one. Adam obviously went through 1-on-1, could have been another goal. We hit the woodwork twice for staff. I think we came here and gave a pretty good account of ourselves in both aspects of the way we can play, really. First half was generally out of possession, but everybody really at it, as I said, full foot down and throttle, and just try and stay with them, really. But second half we showed our quality, some of the changes. I was delighted for Brereton, obviously, and delighted for Rothwell, who came on and made big impacts on the game. But it wasn't just that. I thought we moved the ball around much better second half. Sometimes when I prepare the team, it's almost as if they forget to play, and they're so intense about stopping the opposition and working hard that they forget to play when we've got the ball. And I think that's what happened for staff, because we know Aston Villa are good with the ball, and yet we have to be better with the ball for staff when we have it. We can't just keep giving them it back like we did. Whereas when we got a grip of that, talking at half-time about how to control a football match better with the ball, and it came to fruition second half. So how was my emotion? obviously frustrated, disappointed that we didn't get a result, and yet pretty proud of the way they performed, both first half and second half. Really, the second half performance probably deserved a point out of this game, but unfortunately we didn't get it. Yeah, undoubtedly, you know, it's you can feel the quality on the football pitch, because I picked Bennett centre midfield today with his athleticism and his legs and his desire and knowing what was coming, and yet we couldn't get near them really, and it was a great challenge for young Travis, of course, to go and play against such class players. And but yeah, listen, we dug in, we stood our ground as best we could, and then got stronger as the game went on. I think a great credit to our conditioning of the team. I think that we pushed and pushed and pushed, and yeah, I was pleased with them. Obviously, I just wanted that second goal, and it was nearly there. A few opportunities, as I say. Adam could have made it 2-1 rather than 2-2, but you always fancy Mulgrew's going to create a problem with a free kick edge of the box, and it paid off. Amari, he buried his dad yesterday, and I'm just so pleased for him. It's been emotionally really difficult time for him over the last few weeks, and delighted for him. Yeah. So listen, how do I feel? Disappointed and yet proud of the performance in a couple of aspects, in the out of possession stuff first half and the in possession stuff second half, and I think that sums it up. Listen, Lenahan's a men's street. I said all week in training, it's unbelievable when you watch him on the training ground how dominant he is. We've got somebody who's heading the ball back over the halfway line from all goal kicks. It's the centre half's looking for him because they know he's coming and he's going to tower over him and smash it over the halfway line. And just something as basic as that makes a massive difference to a football team. So you're not having to defend the edge of your box every goal kick, really. And yeah, he's still got a long way to go in his football career and his development. And yet he's a fantastic lad. He's a proper defender, in my opinion. He's been a huge difference. Today, would we have withstood that pressure first half without Lenahan? You'd have to question whether we would. But yeah, listen, I'm confident going into these remaining games. I've just said to them there, they have to enjoy these last 7 games. Go and play, express yourselves, show our fans, particularly the home games. Home games, 4 home games. Let's go and show everybody what a good team we still are. And I know we've been on a frustrating, disappointing run, but to come here and perform like we did generally today was a good statement, I think. And particularly that last half an hour, they have to believe that they can compete with anybody in the division.
And what else has been going on in the Championship? Let's take a look at some of the results. Obviously on Friday, West Brom took on Birmingham, who were recently docked 9 points, and West Brom come out on top with a 3-2 win, 5-goal thriller. On that one, Leeds left it late with a 3-2 win over Millwall. Wigan picked up a valuable point against Brentford. Reading impressed and took on a 2-1 win over Preston. Notts Forest beat Swansea 2-1. Ipswich were humbled once again with Hull City picking up a 2-0 win. Derby smashed 6 past Rotherham. QPR stumbled to a defeat at home to Bolton. Stoke, our next opponents, they picked up a 0-0 draw against Sheffield Wednesday, who actually will be taking on Aston Villa. Sheffield United actually slipped up to Bristol City 3-2, and in the late game, Norwich picked up a 1-0, valuable 1-0 win over Middlesbrough, and this is what it has done to the table. Obviously, last week, Sheffield United were in second, but Norwich still top the pops with 81 points. 5 points clear now. It looks pretty home and dry. Leeds are in second spot, 2 points clear of Sheffield United. West Brom, though, breathing down the necks as well in 4th. Villa in 5th. And Derby squeeze into 6th spot. They'll be licking their lips at that prospect. As for the bottom of the table, Ipswich are rock bottom still. Bolton are 23rd and Rotherham are 22nd. Rovers in 16th spot for us. Our next opponents will be Stoke, who are in 14th spot. As for Aston Villa, then the next opponents will be Sheffield Wednesday, who are in 11th. And that's just a quick look at those matches. Obviously, I mentioned them already. Rovers against Stoke, Villa against Sheffield Wednesday. Other highlights include Hull against Reading. That's a highlight for some reason. Norwich against QPR, the leaders. Rotherham against Forest. Millwall against West Brom. Swansea City against Middlesbrough. Birmingham Leeds. Bristol City Wigan. Bolton Ipswich crunch clash at the bottom of the table. Brentford against Derby. There are a couple of games going on midweek as well, but I'm not really bothered about them bad boys. And that's pretty much all I've got for you today, folks. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a good old thumbs up. And if you're new to the channel, smash your subscribe button. Keep your bang up to date with all things Blackburn Rovers related, Sheffield related, World Football related. We've got it all here under one roof. And we'll be back once again to look ahead to the Stoke game. Probably Monday or Tuesday, something like that. We'll cover that bad boy. It's definitely a winnable game. Don't really want to talk much about it now. Let's just let this vibe sink in a little bit. The vibe of defeat. It's something I hope to see the back off pretty soon. And yes, I'm going to quickly. Yeah, this is my sort of plans for the future for Rovers, I think we do need a bit of a cull, and that includes a lot of fan favourites. I'm pretty sure Mulgrew signed a deal recently. Some of these players have signed deals recently, but I'm gonna say if I had my way. I'm not going to tell you about who I'd get rid of, but I'm all about Rothwell right now. I think if we do sell, I'm on the fence about selling Dak. You know, before I was like, nope, we got to keep him, we got to keep him, we got to keep him. But I think we kind of rely too much on him. I think Rothwell is showing some progress, and he's exciting. I think we just need to. I think we need to go again. We need to take. I think Nyambe's safe. I think Raya is safe. I think Lenihan is safe. I think Rothwell should be safe. Obviously, they spent the money on Brereton, so I think he's safe. Travis looks solid as well. So there's 6 players who I think should have a future with us next season. Dak, I don't know if we'll cash in on him. I'd like to see him stick around. Maybe we can, I think if we can get Dak and Rothwell playing the same way, Armstrong is obviously he's a newbie. He'll be here next season. I think there's a lot of players that could go. I'm not entirely sure if they will go. But whatever happens, we need fresh bodies, and we need to add experience. We definitely need a defensive overall needs to be sorted out, and that includes Mulgrew. I don't know. He's obviously a set piece threat, but we can't really rely on that. I'd rather have a solid defender than a magician that can occasionally score a goal. For us. But anyway, I'm going to wrap this puppy up. We'll be back once again, like I said, for the Stoke game, which will be on, I think it's next Saturday, but we'll do the preview probably Tuesday, so make sure you stick around until then. Smash that thumbs up, smash subscribe. I'll speak to you all very soon. Thanks again for watching. Please like, share, and most importantly, hit the subscribe button to keep you bang up to date with all things Blackburn Rovers related, Championship related, football related. We've got it all covered right under one roof. And while I still have you, please be sure to check out some of the old videos scattered along here. I hope.